Hey everybody, welcome back. I wanted to do a quick clarification update video from the hurricane season preparation video the other day. Since the other day, as we were preparing for that tropical depression, it has been upgraded to a tropical storm. I believe the first named storm of the season, Tropical Storm Alberto. And that is, the brunt of it is about 150 miles south of us in Mexico, but we are still getting a fair amount of rain. Rain started off and on yesterday afternoon, and it's been off and on all morning long until about noon. So around lunchtime, we started to get a lot of heavy downpour. We did get a small break here about 20 minutes ago. I was able to get Bella back outside, see if she needed to use the restroom. We took the golf cart down to the end of the road and needed to quickly turn around because even in just the morning of rain that we had, the pretty heavy downpour that we had, the roads in our little neighborhood were flooded, and to the point that the water was kind of spilling up over the curb. It really kind of makes you wonder what's going on in the rest of the neighborhood once you get out of the neighborhood and the rest of the community. But the clarification I wanted to make, we were preparing very intentionally for just a tropical depression. We didn't go all out in terms of preparations. I already had some staples in the pantry. I only purchased a few more of those types of things. I wanted to make sure I had the power reserve in the backup, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough water. So I purchased a little bit of water, but then I ended up filling some of the water bottles that I had here just at home. But the other thing I did, and I wish I would have remembered to get it on video, but I did it the following day. It came to me and I said, I probably just need to flush the fresh water tank in the RV and fill that up with fresh water. That'll give me 75 gallons of fresh water in the event that I need it. I could just flip the water pump on and then we'll have that at our disposal if we need it. Knock on wood, we're not going to need it, but those were just a few of the things I was trying to just figure out. What's the routine for a weather-related incident in the RV? But the other thing that I really also wanted to make a clarification on, obviously tropical depression, tropical storm, and then hurricanes, right? The varying intensity levels of categories 1 through 5. Let's not mince words that at a certain point, if we feel like it's going to be too dangerous, then that's when we just kind of pack up and we head out. And the preparations probably get a lot more intense at that point. So what we did the other day was really very minor, mostly geared towards what we were expecting for this particular situation. But we're still going to need to really figure out what's going to happen if, say, a real hurricane were to come through here. We're about 65 miles from the coast where we're at right now. If a category 2 maybe hit the coast, could it still be a category 1 by the time it hit us? That was the case a few years ago. I think it was a category 2 or 3, and it was a low-grade hurricane by the time it got to us. But we were in the house then. It was a lot sturdier. It was a lot stable. Obviously, that's different than an RV. So there's a lot to consider, and by no means am I saying that what we were doing was kind of this all-inclusive survival list. We really meant it to what we were saying. We kind of just needed to go through some of the practice and go through some of the motions so we can kind of narrow in on what our plan would be when it actually mattered. I did sit down and think a little bit more about what I had done living, not just here in the RGV for the hurricane situation we had a couple of years ago, but I've also lived in Corpus Christi as well as the greater Houston area. I lived in Houston when Katrina was headed towards us. It went to New Orleans. But then 2 weeks later, Hurricane Rita hit. And then we had our house there that we had to protect at the time as well. So having lived on the coast for a huge portion of my adult life, I did want to be a little bit more serious about it. So I did sit down and I put together a little bit more of an intentional list. I can put that link to that blog in the description below, which is kro.Productions.net. But I'll try to remember to put that link in the description just so you can go find that, and maybe it'll have a few extra helpful hints of things that we can think about. But after I had seen the water kind of pooled up at the end of the drive here when I was taking Bells out earlier, I'm really hopeful that the little bit of sunlight that we're getting right now, the sun's trying to peek out, but there's another band coming kind of right behind it within the next few minutes here. I think in roughly 10 to 15 minutes, if the WeatherBug app is correct, then it's going to start again in 10 to 15 minutes, and it's going to go pretty hard for a couple of hours. But I hope everybody's staying safe, and I hope everybody is Hope everybody's kind of willing to kind of continue to work on their emergency situation plans, and be willing to share those tips, right? Because everyone at some point has to deal with some sort of emergency situation, and why not share those tips with others? Until next time, though, let's be sure to live life outside of the work that we do.